A rich man came to meet the Baal Shem Tov, a big rabbi, a sage that lived in the 17th and 18th century in Europe. And when he came to the rabbi with a big ego, the Baal Shem Tov asked him, "Do you need anything?" And the rich man said, "No, I don't need anything. I just heard of your good reputation, and I just wanted to come and enjoy seeing you." So the Baal Shem Tov looked at him and said, "If that's so, let me tell you a story." The rich man was a little bit surprised, but he said, "Of course." The Baal Shem Tov started telling him a story. He said, long time ago, there were two friends. Those two friends, they grew up together and they were always sharing everything between them and always helping each other. And no matter what happened, they always stood up and helped each other. Now, the time passed by, they grew up, and both of them got married. And, as life takes us, sometimes one moved to another city. Even though they loved each other very much, they were a little bit away, as just reality made it happen. Now, both of them were very rich and had a lot of properties and had a very convenient life. Now, after a few years, one of them started to lose money, and no matter what he did, he just went lower and lower, and whatever he touched, just kind of bad luck, and he lost a lot of his property and his money, and he just tried to work in whatever he could, and he just couldn't bring money anymore. Whatever he did was just horrible. He remembered then about his old good friend, and he said, "What do I have to lose? I'm just gonna go and see him and see if he can help me." The friend went to the other house, to the other city, to his friend. He came to the big house, very, rich area, and he knocks on the door. And the servant of the other friend opens the door and he tells him his name. And of course, his friend takes him in, accepts him, to his home and listens to him, hugs him, so happy to see him. And he asks him what happened. And when he tells him that he lost all his money and he's not rich anymore, he's very poor, and all that happened to him, the good friend that owned the house said to the first one, "Wait a minute here." He went to the other room to where his safe was, and he returned after a few minutes with a big, big, big amount of money. And he came to his friend and he said, "When we grew up, we always used to share all of our belongings, whatever we had. So now I'm going to share with you a half of my money." The friend that became poor was so surprised and shocked. And of course, he thanked his friend so much. He never expected it would be such a generous gift. He was thanking him so much and blessing him, happy. And the friend told him, "I wish for you to have the best of luck with this money and that you'll never need any help." Now, when he went back home with the money he got from his friend, he did succeed to buy back all of his properties and to become even richer than he was before. After a few years, they kind of lost touch again. And then it was a time for the other friend, the generous friend, to start experiencing some troubles. His luck started to change. And no matter what he did, he started to lose money. And it came to the point that he had to sell everything. His wife, children, they didn't have anything. So his wife said, go to your friend. He's going to help you, just like you helped him." So he was happy. He actually borrowed some money from some, of his friends around him that didn't have much. And he went with this money to visit his old friend in the other city. When he came there, he came and saw his beautiful house, and he knocked on the door and he told the servant his name. How surprised he was that the servant said, "Nobody here knows your name." And when he asked again, "Please call him, tell him again my name, I'm his friend and I need his help," And the servant went back in and came back out again and said, no, nobody really knows your name, and the owner of this house said he's very busy. The friend was so disappointed, so sad, that he went back home crying and felt so bad, and his heart was so broken from the evil behavior that his friend, behaved to him, that it made him sick, and it wasn't so long and he passed away. On the same day, something mysterious happened to the rich guy in his home, and he passed away. Those two souls came to heaven, not heaven, upstairs, as we call it, to where their souls are being judged. With the poor man, there was no, they didn't even need to think about it. They didn't even need to summon the court. He made so many good things, and especially the generous charity, tzedakah, that he did with his friend. Of course, he is ready to just go enter Gan Eden and enter heaven. He's good. His best friend, on the other hand, after what he did, he actually caused his death. So for him, they showed, this is the way to the other side. But even then, the friend that became poor and that helped from the beginning was crying and screaming and said, no, that's my best friend. We were always used to stick up and help each other. I'm not going to go to heaven. Please, 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 give him another chance. Whatever it needs to be done, I'll do it. I'll volunteer, whatever. Don't send him to hell. Give him another chance. So it was decided above that he will get another chance. That both of them will be sent down back to earth, and that the good friend will be reincarnated as a son for a poor family, and the bad friend will be reincarnated as a son of a very rich family. Now, the son that was very rich, he grew up to be a man that didn't like to give charity. He didn't care about poor people. He wasn't helping at all. He had a beautiful house with many servants. And the poor man that grew up in the poor family, he worked in whatever he could, but sometimes when it was very tough, he became a beggar. And he would go to other cities to try to ask for some charity when it was too hard for him and his family. So that beggar came to one of the beautiful houses after he was walking for a few days, and because he didn't have money, he didn't even have enough food, and he didn't have almost no water. He was so tired. And when he saw this beautiful house, he was already hoping that, oh wow, at least if I won't get the money, at least I'll get something to eat. And he knocked on the door, and the owner of the house opened. And he looked at him and said, can you please give me something? So the owner said, you must be new in town, because you don't know that this house doesn't accept poor people, and I'm not helping any of you. You can just go away. The beggar was so shocked, and as I said before, he didn't even eat for a few days. It was such a big shock for him, and he was already so weak that his heart couldn't take it, and it just fell on the stairs and collapsed. All the trying of the servants and the people around to bring him back to life didn't work, and he died there. Now, said the Baal Shem Tov, what do you think about this story? The rich man, till that moment, was so full of himself, thinking I have everything, remembered the poor man that just collapsed a few days ago next to his home. Back then, his consciousness didn't really care. He didn't feel like almost nothing. But now, when he saw, thanks to the Baal Shem Tov, the whole picture, he fell on his knees and said, I'm such a bad person, evil man, what did I do? What have I done? I lost my whole world, I lost my next world, I lost everything. What should I do? Please, please, the Baal Shem Tov, please, Rabbi, help me. Is there any hope? What can I do? And the Baal Shem Tov let this rich man cry for another hour. And then he said to him, first you have to look for the widow and the children of this poor man. And you have to make sure that you provide for them till the rest of their lives. And then you must take all your money and divide it between all the poor people in your area, so you will not enjoy it. And with that, you might have your forgiveness. The poor rich man, he went back home and he listened and obeyed and did all that the Baal Shem Tov said. He became a very poor man, and all that comforted him was that at least now he will slowly earn his chance to get his Olam Haba, his next world. All the best.